Hello and welcome to Create Crochet with me, Rebecca. In today's video we're going to be making a beanie hat. To do this you need a yarn that requires a 5 or a 5.5mm hook. So this is my hook and it's a US I9. Okay, and some scissors just to snip off any ends. Now the yarn I'm using is called Loops and Threads, and it's quite soft because I want it to be soft on my head. I don't want itchy yarn. You can use a cotton yarn, but just make sure that it is thick enough to carry the 5.5 or 5mm hook. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is making a magic loop or an adjustable loop, whichever one you call it. Now to do this you hold the short piece in your hand like that, and you're going to be wrapping it round these two fingers here. So you hold it in your hand here and hold the yarn securely with your thumb. You're going to wrap round once, and then when you wrap round the second time you're going to go over like that. So you have a cross section on your fingers. With your hook you're going to go under that first one, grab your yarn here, come through, and as you come through, twist. And that is your magic loop created. And what I do is I just chain one just to keep everything in place. The magic loop is there so that you don't chain. It's instead of chaining and slip stitching back to the beginning to create your circle. This you can adjust, as in the name, adjustable loop. Now my loop is a little bit big, so I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. And how I do that is I hold on to these knots that I've just created here and just gently pull. And I'm pulling on the short piece just to make that loop a little bit smaller. And into this loop we are going to start our beanie with 8 half double crochet, which is the US term, or 8 half treble crochet if you're in the UK. So how we do that is we chain one like so, and then we're going to go yarn over into our adjustable loop and grab the yarn over and go through all 3 loops on the hook. Now the first one will need a bit of working, but once you've done the first one you'll be fine. It's just that first one into the magic loop. So that's 1. Two. So you go through, yarn over, through the loop, yarn over, and there should be 3 loops on your hook. You're going to go yarn over, and then you're going to bring this yarn over through all 3. 1, 2, and 3. Just tighten up that loop. Yarn over, in, yarn over, come through, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, and take through 1, 2, 3. One, 2, oops, and 3. We need to do that 8 times. So let me just count how many times I've done. Now this chain space counts as your first one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. So that's 6. 7, 8, and 8. Now to adjust your adjustable loop, you have the short piece here. You hold on to it and hold on to this section here, the first section here, and pull. Don't pull too hard just yet, we will close it fully, but we need to slip stitch to the first chain that we made here. So we're going to go in for one loop and in, for eventually 2 loops and slip stitch. Now this yarn does like to fray, but it feels nice and I like it. I'm going to do that again because this loop on my hook is too big. So just change that. If you do ever feel like you want to change your work, if it's not going the way that you want it to, it's your work, you have to be proud of it, feel free to undo it. So that's round 1, and we have this massive hole here as though we had chained into it. So what we do is make that one big off our hook, just put our hook down so we have this free hand. Hold on to the work, and with this smaller piece that is not attached to the ball of yarn, hold on to your work and pull, and as you pull, the circle closes up, so you haven't got a gap at the top of your beanie. So that's round 1. Round 2 is 2 double crochet in each one of these 8, so it should give us 16 stitches. So let's chain 1 to get up to our next round, and we're going to go yarn over, and bring through, and again through the same stitch, and by doing 2 stitches into the same loop you are increasing. So this is how you increase in crochet. So let's do that again. Yarn over, and at the top of the stitch you have 2 loops. Make sure you go through 2 so that your work isn't baggy, and although you have 2 loops, it's classed as 1. So we have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over and bring through all of them. Just lost that one, that's fine. Yarn over, take through the 2 loops, yarn over, bring through, and bring through 3. So that's gone into that bit there. We need to do our crochet, our next half double crochet into this same stitch. And that's an increase. So into the next one. And into the same one that we just did that one in. So by putting 2 stitches in each of the 8 that we did on the previous round, we should end up with 16 stitches, and it will start to grow. So you carry on doing that, and I will see you back at this start here. So I'm about to come round and slip stitch to my chain stitch here. So to do a slip stitch, you go in through that first stitch or chain, round, come through once, come through twice, and that's your first proper round. So it should be circular shaped. So for the next round, we're going to chain 1 to get up to the next round. This does not count as a stitch. So every time you do 2 half double crochet in the first stitch, this does not count as one stitch. It's just finishing off this round and coming on to the next round. Okay, so to the next round we're going to do 2 half double crochet in the first stitch, 1 half double crochet, 2 half double crochet, 1 half double crochet. So in this first one we go 2, and back into that same stitch for our second one, which is our increase. Take all the loops off the hook, and in the next one we only do 1. And in the next one we do 2. And in the next one we just do 1. So you're doing 2, 1, 2, 1. And do this all the way around, and you should have 24 stitches by the time you come round to the beginning here. So you carry on and do, the next one will be an increase, and then a single, and then an increase, and then a single, and I will join you back round here. So I've just done my 24 stitch, and I'm going to slip stitch to the top of the first half double crochet that I did. And that was round 3, and it will start to curve now a little bit, as this is the top of the head, like so. Okay, so the next round, round 4, is we're going to increase again, and this time, so we chain 1, this time we're going to do 2 half double crochet into the first stitch, and then we're going to stitch 1, stitch 1, 2 half double crochet. So we're going to put 2 stitches in between our increase. So we go 2 into this first one, and then 1 in here, and 1 in here, 1 into the next one, and then we're going to put 2 into the next stitch. So 1, and 2 back into this space here. So again, we now, because we've just done our increase, we do 1 half double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then 2 into this one here. So we go 1, and 2. At the end of this round, you should have 32 stitches. So again, if you carry on all the way round, I'll meet you back at the beginning. So we're back round to the beginning, and I had to put 2 stitches into this last one to make sure I got my 32. If you need to do that, that's fine, go ahead. And make sure you're slip stitching into this top hook, this top stitch here, and not into the chain. Chain 1. So round 5 is 2 half double crochet, a single one in the next 3, and then 2 half double crochet into the next 1. So I'll do the first section, the first round with you. So we'll go in here, like so, and then back into here for our increase. And then in the next 3 stitches we're going to do a single one. So that's 1, 2, and 3, and then into the next one we're going to do our increase, which is 1 and 2. At the end of this round, which is round 5, you should have 40 stitches. Like that. So you go ahead, and the next one will be a single, 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 and then 2 for your increase, all the way round. And I will see you back at the beginning. Again, round here, if you need to put 2 into this last stitch here, do that. It needs to be 40 stitches. So we're back at the beginning, and we need to slip stitch and chain 1, and that was 40 stitches. So the next round, what we have to do is, this is the 6th round, and we need to do 2 half double crochet, 1 half double crochet in the next 4, and then 2 half double crochet for an increase. So with each round you skip another stitch on the increase. So into this first stitch, and make sure your first stitch is the one that you've come up from the chain, otherwise when you come round you're not going to have enough space to get all the stitches. And in this round you should have crocheted 48 half double crochets. So I'll do the first set with you. So that's 1 and 2, and then we're going to do 1 in each of the next 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then into this next one we're going to do the increase of 2 half double crochet. So into that next stitch, and then back in for another half double crochet, which gives us our increase. This yarn is fraying as I'm trying to get my hook through. There we go. So that is what the next should look like. So we've done 8 stitches. Had to just quickly work that one out. So we've done 8 stitches, and you need to go all the way around for 48 stitches. So in the next one you do 1, 1, 1, and 1. So that's 4 half double crochets in these, and then 2 into the next stitch for the increase. And the reason for the increase is to give the beanie hat the sloped top, and back into this stitch here. Now I want to show you something, and that's how to see where your stitches are. So if you lose count, if the phone goes or something happens, I want to show you how to count your stitches as you're coming round. So we'll just choose this section here, and it's each one of these knots here, so coming through, and you can see that that's a single one because it's only got one coming through this space here. So that's one, and that's a single, that's a double because it's got two posts, this one here and this one here coming out of this gap. So if you spread it out, you can see that this one has two of those knots in it, and this one here, this gap here, only has one post sitting in it. So if you keep going all the way around, again you're going to need to have 48 half double crochets in total when you get back to this round here. So I hope you're getting on alright doing these in the rounds. I did have to do another increase into this last stitch here to make sure I had my 48 stitches, and now I'm going to slip stitch back to my first half double crochet and not into the chain to complete round 6. Now round 7 we'll chain 1, and we're going to half double crochet into 5. Sorry, do the increase first, and then do a half double crochet in 5, and then do the increase. So the more round we go, the longer the gap is before we do an increase. So where you've just chained from, so you'd be able to see the chain is here, so we're going to go into this gap here, into this one, our first increase. So that's 2 half double crochets into this gap. So that's 1 and 2. Oops. And then in the next 5 we're going to be doing 1 half double crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the next one will be our increase for 1, and back into the same place here, and 2 once it comes off the hook. So this is round 7, and at the end of round 7 you should have 56 half double crochets completed on this round. Okay, so you carry on, and again if you need to do some more increases around this edge here, try and count these loops at the top all the way around. Sorry, try and count them when you get to about here, and try and do your increases more round here if you need to make more to make your 56 stitches, rather than doing them all on this last one here. Otherwise your work might start to become egg-shaped. So again, you need 56 stitches. Try and recognize these loops as you're coming round to the end, and if you need to do another half double crochet increase before you get to the end, that's fine, but making sure that you do it over here. Okay, I will join you round here. So again, I did have to do an extra increase around here. So now I'm going to slip stitch to my first half double crochet to complete the round. like so, and then crochet 1. So in round 7 we are going to do the last increase, and this is exactly the same as all the others, making sure I'm going into the first one here, and then I'm going to go back into that first one for my first half double crochet increase. So that's 2 half double crochets in one, and then we're going to do 1 single half double crochet in the next 6, and then do our next increase. Now, how to count your loops. We've done count stitches, but I want you to show you how to count your loops. So these are the top of your stitches. These 2 loops here count as 1 loop when it goes on your hook. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's 4 that we've just counted. So both loops through. You'll need to know this for the next round, not the one that we were about to do, but the one after that. So make sure you can see both of those loops there, because when we do the next round we are going to be working into the back loop only. So we have, I'll show you, those 2 loops as we go through on our hook. We are going to be using this loop only, just that one, because it will create a pattern. Because on the next round and the fourth and the coming rounds, we're going to be creating a pattern with no increase using this loop only, which is called the back loop. But for now, I just thought, as you're going round on this round that we're going to do right now, each time you pick up the loops, just recognise what you're doing. So we've just done our first half double crochet increase, and now we need to half double crochet into the next 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we put our increase into this next one here. So we do 2 half double crochets in that one, and then again for 6, one, 2, just need to let some more yarn out. If you need to let some yarn out of your ball, as I'm doing here, never ever take out your hook, because you might pull it through. So that was how many? That was 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 2 into this one here for our increase, 1 and 2, and then in the next 6 you put 1 half double crochet and do your increase. At the end of this row you should have 64 in total half double crochets, and of course, even though you're doing 2 into the one before, so into here, that's still 2 stitches, so that counts as 1 and 2. Okay, so you carry on going around and I will join you back at the beginning where we will start to bring down the hat like that, so it sits on the head. Okay, so I'll join you back round there. So we're back round to the beginning, and again, same as before, we're going to slip stitch into the top of our first half double crochet. If you want to make this a little bit bigger, you do this round, and the next round you increase again by 1. So you do your 2 half double crochets and then a single one in the next 7, and then your increase. But for now, this is what your work should look like. It's going to have a slight floppy bend to it. Okay, so chain 1, and then into the back loop only, which again is, you have 2 loops which make up the top of 1 half double crochet, but the 2 loops count as 1. We have 1 furthest away and 1 closest to you. It's this back one that we're going to be using only from here on in. Now this next bit is going to be completely personal as to how long down your head you want your beanie hat to be. Okay, so from here on in there are no increases. It is literally forming the sides that bring it down. So go into this first stitch here, make sure it is the first one. We are now not counting the one where the chain has just come from. If you do, you're going to be making an increase. So instead of going into this first one here, you're going to go to this one next to it and pick up the back loop only. And by picking up the back loop only, it's going to create a pattern. When you do it, it will appear baggy. The stitch that you've just made, that half double crochet that you've just made, will look as though it's coming away from your work. It will tighten itself up when you do the next one. So going into the back loop only and doing our normal half double crochet. All the way around. As I said, if you did want to increase the size of this hat, instead of doing this, you would be doing your half double crochet increase and then a half double crochet into the next 7 and then doing your half double crochet, and you would have ended up with 72 stitches. Into the back loop only. When you pull through, or when you catch the loop, make sure you're only catching the loop and not any of the threads from anywhere else. I'm going to do that one again, around there, and catch it through. So you're going to keep doing that all the way around until you come back to the beginning. Now you can use a stitch marker at the beginning here if you want to. As you can see, that's already started to create a pattern by this ridge here. And we'll see that going all the way across now. It's not going to be a definite pattern, but you'll be able to see it and you'll be able to notice it. And it just makes it a little bit different to what you would normally see a crochet hat to look like. So keep going all the way around and I will join you back here. So here we are back round at the beginning of this round, and we're going to slip stitch into both loops of that first half double crochet. So you take it through both loops just to make sure it's secure. Now if we have a look at our pattern, this is doing it inside out, this is the wrong side, and then the right side is where you can see this ridge happening here. Now what's creating that is the front loop of the work. So at the moment we're half double crocheting into the back loop, into this back loop of our work. The front loop is staying still and is creating this ribbed effect here. So we're going to keep carrying on, going round and round and round, and keep trying your hat on your head or whoever's head that you're making it for, just to make sure that it fits. If you get so far and you realise that this isn't big enough or it's too big, when you unravel it back to this first rib. Otherwise you'll unravel too far and you'll have to do all this again. So if you have to unravel it because it's too small or too big, go back to this first rib here. So chain 1 and into the back loop only. And that's going to be the same now for every single round that you do. Back loop only, but when you slip stitch to complete the round through the top of both loops. You'll still get the rib at the beginning of the round. So don't worry about you having one section going all the way down the hat of having no pattern. If you don't want to create this ribbed effect, go through both loops, not just the back loop. Then you won't have any pattern, or sorry, you won't have any ribbing. The whole of your hat will just look like this part here. So it's up to you as to whether you want to do this ribbing or carry on like this. I just think the ribbing makes it stand out a little bit more. So no more increasing, only going through the back loop. Now I reckon on average it takes at least another 10 to 15 rows of just doing this to make the hat come down. And it's up to you as to how far you want to do it, whether you want to have a folded over bit at the bottom. This bit is entirely free and up to you as to how long you have it. If you need to unravel and go back and make it larger, the last round that we did was 2 half double crochets in the same stitch for an increase. We then did 6 half double crochets singularly, and then our next increase. As I said before, what you can do is make it larger by the next round doing your increase and then half double crochet in the next 7 until you do your increase. If you need to make the hat further still, on your next round you would do 8. So you'd go half double crochet increase and then a half double crochet in the next 8, and then your half double crochet increase all the way around, making sure I go through that top loop only. And there you can see the next line of the rib. So we have rib here and a rib there. So keep going until this hat fits your head coming down. So this is the skull, the top part of your head, and right now we are working down the sides of your head. So keep trying it on I would try it on after about 6 rows, see if it fits, and then carry on. But it normally takes, as I said, another 10 rows-ish. If it takes more, fine. If it takes less, also fine. But you go for it, and I'll finish mine, and I'll show you what it looks like. So I hope you all enjoyed making your beanie hat up to now and have been trying it on your head. I'm just about to do my last stitch in here, and then to finish the whole thing off, I'm going to slip stitch into the top of my first one that I did of this round. And slip stitch through. I'm going to get my scissors, snip it off, and bring it through. Now with this extra piece here, you will need to weave it in, and with the piece that you started your adjustable loop or magic loop with. Yeah. So you can wear your beanie either that way, where the ridges look like this, or turn it round the other way where your ridges are a bit more pronounced. It's entirely up to you if you made a beanie hat with ridges, but this is what it looks like when it's all completed. Well, I hope you enjoyed making that, and we'll see you for the next video.